Chaos Zero Nightmare might be the first ever gacha game I've ever participated in that is going to have a drastic overhaul like this. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I am honestly pretty worried about the future of this game, but I'm also pretty positive about it as well. So let's just get straight into this discussion. Now, when I woke up today, I heard that
Chaos Zero Nightmare is in some trouble.
And when I heard those words, I was genuinely baffled and scared because the game officially is like a week into its lifespan and we already have drama. So I was worried. I'm like, is it idiots online? But come to find out, the CEO of Super Creative and the director of Chaos Zero Nightmare, Kim Hyung-seok, I don't know if I said that correctly, made an emergency live stream. And when I heard emergency live stream, I'm like, what is going on? So this Redditor right here called ConstructionFit8822 made a summary of the entire live stream. So shout out to them for doing this. This is their absolute goat for doing this. So we're just gonna read through this real quick. We're gonna be discussing whatever's going on in this game. But first things first, my name is Phantomatic. I am a upcoming creator for Chaos Zero Nightmare. And I honestly think majority, if not all, Chaos Zero Nightmare content creators should be discussing this because this is pretty massive for the game. So let's just stop stalling and let's just get straight into this. Summary of emergency live stream 11th of the 1st 2025, so November 1st. Here's a summary for you guys. Keep in mind some errors. It's an AI video summary. It happens because this live stream was a Korean live stream, so we didn't have any English subtitles, had nothing like that. So let's continue. Kim Hyung-seok, I don't know if I said that correctly again, CEO of Super Creative and director of the game Chaos Zero Nightmare, conducted a live broadcast to issue a comprehensive apology for the game's significant post-launch failures. He accepted full personal responsibility for widespread surface instability, a critically flawed main story that marginalizes the players, and the mass resignation of the original scenario team, which he attributed directly to his excessive intervention. So when he says the original scenario team is gone, what that basically means is the original storyboard team. So the people who made the story or who came up with the story, they're gone. And we did not know this, but they're gone. Now, already that sounds really bad, but let's keep going. And he also said that it was because of his excessive interventions, meaning that when they came up with something or when they came up with the first 6 chapters of the story, he probably was like, no, change this, do that, way close to the deadline. But let's just continue. They should be able to explain further on what they mean by excessive intervention. In response, a series of decisive actions were announced. The central promise is a complete overhaul of the main story's first 5 chapters, including new voice acting with a target completion date in the first half of the coming year. That is massive. That is a very, very massive decision and a very massive change to Chaos Zero Nightmare. Because the one instance I could think of a gacha game doing this is something like Persona 5X, where they had the whole Subway Slammers incident. But overhauling the first 5 chapters of your gacha game that has been released for over a week now is a pretty bold move. And a pretty ballsy move, if I have to say anything about that. Now, if we really think about it, the first 5 chapters of Chaos Zero Nightmare is pretty mediocre to say the least. I'm being honest, some concepts just don't really mix and match well. We have an inconsistency of dark themes throughout the entire chapters. We have some analogies, or not analogies, but some themes or stuff in game that we don't know about, just don't get explained at all. There's so much stuff that could be changed and could be fixed about the story that I honestly really think that they should go ahead with this overhaul, because I've heard that the original premise was kind of like a time loop, kind of psychological dark story for the game, and you could honestly see that with Protos's abilities, because if you don't know, the captain has abilities and it's primarily themed around what? Time travel. You can rewind time, you can rewind actions. Protoss has those abilities, but not in game, because Protoss is just, honestly, let's be honest, a regular MC. So when you really think about that, it makes sense, and it just shows how the story has drastically changed from the original premise. But let's continue. To compensate for technical issues, players will receive 10 pickup anchors weekly throughout November. The director also addressed specific community concerns, including monetization, localization, inconsistencies, and ideological controversies. So yes, you heard it. We are getting 50 limited pulls as sorry. Okay, that is pretty good if I do say so myself, especially with the max pity of Chaos Zero Nightmare being what, like 70. So they almost gave out like a guaranteed character throughout the entirety of November. So yes, from November 1st, which is right now as I'm recording this, you should have gotten like 10 limited pulls in your mail, and throughout November you're going to get 10 more until you get like 50 free limited pulls. Vowing to revise content to eliminate any player doubts, he concluded with a personal appeal asking that criticism be directed at him rather than the development team, and affirmed his commitment to not run away and restore this game's quality based on a player-centric philosophy. You don't see that at all with like major CEOs for gacha games. You don't see that with Doway. The only time you've ever seen this was with Kuro Games' CEOs and the leaders behind them. That's the only time I've really witnessed a company do that. Now, there could be other examples out there, but I'm just basing off of what I've remembered and what I've seen. This is amazing. The fact that the CEO himself is taking all the blame and acknowledging his wrongdoings throughout the entire development of this game. You don't see that at all these days. In big 2025, you don't see that. And that's amazing to see. And the fact that instead of just EOSing the game and just leaving everything behind, he's willing to actually try and stay and actually build this game back up to what it originally was supposed to be. And I cannot commend that enough. You feel me? I just really can't. That is something hearing that genuinely just made me believe this game might actually be heading in, well, the right direction. So let's just quickly continue. Number 1, acknowledgement of core failures. The director began the broadcast by identifying and taking ownership of the primary issues that have plagued the game since its launch. He acknowledged that these problems have caused significant disappointment among the user base and stated his role as the company's representative carried a heavy responsibility. That is pretty much true. You are the CEO of this company. You are literally making this game from the ground up. You have to make sure everything is a-okay before this game goes live to the public. And as much as people say that they enjoy the story was by all means and by all definitions a confusing, mediocre story. And that's okay. It's okay to point this out. It's okay to want better, because I'm not going to sit here and continue to consume slop when in reality I know I could get better from these teams. So I'm really happy that he pointed this out, and he pointed out how, yes, we were pretty much disappointed with some aspects of CZN. A. Service instability and technical issues. A primary source of user frustration has been the game's persistent technical problems. The director offered a sincere apology for the instability and inconvenience caused. Identified problems. A series of critical bugs were enumerated, including failures in processing payments and item delivery, duplicate rewards resulting from login errors, a Korean language regression issue that led to critical misunderstandings, the necessities for numerous hotfixes to address ongoing bugs, a new issue related to Prism module observation that occurred on the day of broadcast. Apologies if I'm getting a couple of words wrong. It's pretty late. As you can clearly see, it is really late, but I'm going to keep trying nonetheless. Commitment to resolution. Kim Hyung-sik. Oh my, you're not. Let me not try. I'm sorry for butchering this guy's name. I'm really sorry. Kim promised that the development team is working day and night to resolve these issues as quickly as possible, stating, "We promise to fix everything as quickly as possible." Glad to hear that he actually addressed these issues, and he also confirmed that they are currently working day in and day out trying to fix these bugs. That is great to hear. B. Critical flaws in the main story's narrative. Here we go. The director acknowledged that the main story failed to meet players' expectations, causing confusion and disappointment. Player alienation. The core narrative flaw was identified as positioning the player as an observer rather than the protagonist. He recognized the problem, stating, "The fact that the game's characters are building bonds only with characters other than the protagonist is a clear mistake." Yes, I think we can all agree, from chapters 1 to up to the latest chapter, Protos really isn't that interactive as an MC. If anything, he is just there to be the camera, to be the see-through for us to witness these characters building bonds with each other instead of the MC himself. And when you have an MC with a status as Protos, you know, being a literal captain and needing a entire team or entire, you know, arc to respect you, the fact that he rarely gets any sort of connection, real genuine connections with these characters, is just mind baffling to me, you know? Cause of the flaw. He admitted to being aware of these story problems prior to launch. However, in a desire to meet the promised release schedule, he made the rash decision to proceed, intending to fix the issues in later updates. He described this mindset as thinking too easily and expressed deep regret. I don't know if anybody is bashing on Kim for doing this, but if you are in, like, let's say the YouTube business, especially like in the build guide scene for gacha games, you know how competitive those can be. And sometimes when a video isn't up to your standards, you still believe that you have to drop this video or you have to release this video on this specific day. Like you set your mind that I'm going to release this video today. And when it comes to find out that the video isn't up to what you expected, you still want to release it because in your mind you believe that releasing this video is more important than anything else. And that's where the thinking too easily comes in, because you could be like, oh, well, people are still going to watch it regardless, or, you know, this isn't really that big of a deal to add in or replace, blah 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 blah, and that can easily set you up for failure, just like this situation for Kim. As much as I understood that, you know, Kim wanted to release this game on this day, I think it would have been a more wise decision, of course, to delay the game shortly and fix these issues. But, you know, we're here now and you can't really do much about what has already happened. You can only focus on what you can do currently and how you can prevent this in the future. C. Staff departures and development process issues. Kim addressed the controversy surrounding the departure of the game's scenario writers, taking full personal responsibility for the circumstances. Director's intervention. He confirmed that many members of the scenario team resigned last year and stated unequivocally the reasons was my excessive intervention. Creative suppression. He explained that under the pressure of the looming deadline, he personally participated in writing the script and pushed production forcefully. This stifled the creativity of talented writers he had hired. Ongoing instability. He further revealed that the individuals who completed the current main story under limited time and constraints have also since resigned. He reiterated, the departure of the writers is entirely my responsibility. Yeah, that's just a big major oof on his end. When, let's say, if you're cooking in the kitchen, right? Let's say you're cooking this 5-star meal, but then let's say your boss comes into the kitchen and says, we have to get this food out by 2 o'clock. It's 1:50, and he just comes into the kitchen mid your meal cooking and start messing with it, you know, putting his own little seasonings in it, putting his own little secret ingredients in it. You'd be like, what the hell? You know, I'm cooking this meal, you know, that's my job. Why are you in the kitchen cooking? That is not your job. So when they saw this, yeah, I can see why the talented writers, they were just like, nah, I'm not doing this. You know, you're rushing us. Not only are you rushing us, but you're coming and personally interfering with the story we are creating. Yeah, that's just a major oof on his part, honestly. There's really no, you know, saving that, and I'm glad he knows that as well, and he takes full responsibility for that. Comprehensive remediation plan. Following the acknowledgement of failures, the director outlined a concrete plan of action to rectify the game's most significant problems and rebuild player trust. A. Complete overhaul of the main story, chapters 1 to 5. The most significant commitment is a full-scale rewrite and redevelopment of the main narrative. Objective: to fundamentally recenter the story on the player's character, the captain, as the sole protagonist of the world. Key changes: Protagonist centrality. The structure that causes the protagonist to be excluded by surrounding characters will be fundamentally destroyed. Character revision. Controversial characters will be completely revised to eliminate narrative problems. Atmospheric enhancement. The story's dark and desolate tone will be amplified with greater focus on narrative weight and psychological depth. Full production. The overhaul will be a comprehensive effort including new professional voice recordings, not just text changes. Timeline. The full renewal of chapters 1 to 5 is promised to be completed by the first half of next year. Wow, okay, we got some stuff to go through. First things first. Objective to fundamentally recenter the story on the player's character, the captain. So basically, to center the story back on captain. I've heard a lot of people immediately jump to the conclusion that this means the game is going to be a harem-based game. Nowhere does he state that he's going to completely shift everyone's attention and everyone's love interest to the captain. No, game that the story needs the captain to be more focused on, to be more important. As of right now, the captain just isn't. The captain is just a NPC observer, if anything, not really having any true say on what to do or having any true connections with these characters. So yeah, no, this does not automatically mean it's going to be a harem-based game. Now, is there a chance that it could be? Sure, but there's also a chance that it couldn't be. All we have to do is literally just wait. 2. Character revision. Controversial characters will be completely revised to eliminate narrative problems. Yeah, this is literally just talking about Owen. This is literally just talking about Owen. So if you don't know, apparently there's been this whole stigma that the Korean fan base does not like Owen, and because Owen literally blushed and smiled at this one female character. Now, that in of itself is a whole can of worms, because there's apparently people pretending to be Korean players to push this agenda. But yes, this is a issue over at Korea as well. Don't get me wrong. But people are thinking that this means they're gonna kill off Owen. No, that just means Owen isn't gonna have those interactions with those other characters. Will that potentially make his, character a bit more boring and have him just be this loner, this kind kid who's a loner? Maybe, but we truly don't know what they have in store for Owen in the future. So all we could really do, as I've said, just wait and see. I'm really glad that they're actually planning on making the story a bit darker. I'm genuinely happy that they're going to be focusing on that, because as of right now, the game just doesn't seem that dark. I mean, sure, it has like 1 or 2 dark themes or like one dark chapter, but I want the entire story to be dark and be more psychological. You feel me? And well, next year, first half of next year, we're going to be getting these changes. Now, I hope this isn't a repeat of the deadline situation that he discussed earlier, because I don't want these people to be rushed. I don't want him to rush again with the story just to meet our expectations. So if he says, if he has complete trust that it's coming out the first half of next year, then, by all means, go right ahead. Because who knows how long they've been working on this? Who knows how long he decided, I gotta rehaul the story. So yeah, all we gotta do is just wait and see. Compensation and service stabilization. To apologize for the service instability, a significant compensation package was announced. Comprehension details. Starting the following day, 10 pickup anchors will be distributed to all players every week for the duration of November. So yeah, that's what I was talking about. We're getting 50 free limited pulls to our accounts. That is insane. So make sure every day to get up, every week to get up, check your mail, and get your free 10 pulls. Because this is insane. Director's philosophy. Kim stated that any revenue loss resulting from large-scale compensation is a necessary consequence of the company's mistakes. This is the price we must naturally bear, as it is our responsibility for creating such errors. That is by far one of the most base things a CEO of a gacha game could say, because the main goal for any company that dabbles in gacha games is to make money. So the fact that Kim said, if we make money, that's on us. We have no right to complain. We have no right to be angry. We made these mistakes, so we must suffer the consequences of our actions. That is one of the most base things a gacha CEO could ever say. Adjustments to gameplay and monetization. Feedback regarding gameplay systems and the business models was also discussed. Character affinity. The director acknowledged that raising characters' trust is currently too difficult due to the lack of available gift items. He promised this system would be improved in the first major update to make progress much smoother. Business model. Addressing complaints about monetization, he explained the current model was chosen based on two main arguments. The cost to acquire a character is approximately 30% cheaper than in a game like Genshin Impact. 2. Absence of limited characters allows players a more relaxed, long-term approach to collection. He committed to providing more in-game currency and rewards to make character acquisition easier for players. That is one of the best things to come out of this, besides the entire apology and the 50 free polls. He, the CEO himself, said that we are getting more in-game currency and rewards to pull these characters. Based. On top of that, it is also pretty based that he is not removing the 50-50 system. I don't care how much stigma you believe or how much you're trying to push this agenda like the 50-50 is the next Satan. The 50-50 system is one of the best things that happen to gacha games, period, and it's not even a debate. Now, if you want to go back to other games like Blue Archive and pray to get a 5-star, be my guest, but I am happy the 50-50 system is staying in the game. Response to community allegations and concerns. The director dedicated a significant portion of the broadcast to directly address specific and widespread community rumors and controversies. The coupling controversy and player alienation issue. Players expressed frustration with non-player characters forming relationships with each other, further sidelining their player protagonists. Response. Kim admitted the development team did not fully recognize the impact of this issue before launch. He stated this problem was exacerbated by the core failure of the protagonist not being the center of the story. Action plan. In the future, relationships between non-protagonist characters will be handled in external content such as side stories and webtoons. Within the main game, such interactions will be minimalized. So yeah, that you can clearly tell what's that dedicated to. That's dedicated to like the Korean fan base who really has a issue with characters that are not them as their self-inserts, you know, basically having a better relationship that they will ever have IRL. I'm glad they didn't fully remove character interactions and they just kind of pushed it to side sub-stories and webtoons. While I'm happy it's, you know, not directly removed, it still kind of sucks that it's going to be a bit more minimalized in the main story, which again, I can understand why they would do that, because they want the story to be more all about the captain and how important the captain is. So we'll wait and see how minimalized this truly is. The scenarios team resignation and internal politics. Allegation. Community speculation suggests that internal company politics were the cause of the scenarios team's departure. Response. The director firmly denied this rumor. He reiterated that the resignations were a direct result of his own actions, specifically the high-intensity push for development and his demand for nearly 4 or 5 rewrites of the scenario. He stated, "It is my responsibility rather than an internal political issue." Yeah, telling your entire story team to rewrite the story 4 to 5 times, it's gonna take a toll on them. Like, just imagine making a 30+ minute video and having to re-edit that video 4 to 5 times. Even you might want to drop the video at that point. So if you add on him basically implementing himself into writing the story, the constant stress to push this story out before the deadline, the 4 to 5 rewrites, I think any sensible person would resign as well. Nobody would stay after having to do all that. Nobody. C. Stance on ideological controversies. Femi issue. Issue. Certain in-game content led to the community's suspicion that the game was promoting specific feminist ideologies. Response. The director made a clear and definitive statement on the company's position. "I want to state clearly that our company is one that does not support any specific ideology." He acknowledged that content has created discomfort and suspicion and promised to revise all such content one by one so that players will not have a single doubt. That's pretty based if I do say so myself. D. Denial of AI generated content. Allegations. Rumors circulated that the development studio used AI tools to create game assets. Response. Kim categorically denied this. He argued that with the studio of over 100 developers, it would be impossible for the truth to be maintained. If they were actually using AI, he stated, we want to state this clearly. True. Director's personal appeal and commitment. The director concluded the broadcast with a personal appeal to the community and a renewed commitment to the game's future. A. Acceptance of personal responsibility. So basically, same thing as above, where he basically said, yeah, the game's failures are solely on him. All the fault lies with me, so please blame me. B. Plea for the development team. While accepting all criticism directed at himself, he made an earnest plea on behalf of the developers. Impact on the team. He described the development team, who he said had followed him for up to 4 years, as being deeply hurt by the situation, which caused him great pain as their leader. Request to the community. He implored the community, I sincerely ask you to refrain from extreme criticism of the development team. Meaning, no death threats, no doxing, nothing stupid like that, because we know how crazy gacha players can get with situations like these. Commitment to future transparency. The director affirmed his dedication to fixing the game and communicated his long-term vision. A promise to stay. I will never run away, I will correct what is wrong and take responsibility until the end with a changed appearance. Return to core values. He mentioned that Super Creative's original slogan was to make games all over the world happy. He confessed that he had lost sight of this while dealing with business concerns and now wishes to return to the pure heart of a developer. Future communication. He promised to create more opportunities for live communication to receive feedback and criticism directly from players. That is also one of the best things to come out of this entire thing. He's promised we are getting much better and much more transparent communication in the long run. So yeah, overall, this entire apology live stream was one of the best ways to deal with this entire situation. Usually, a gacha company would probably either ignore this or give their players like 10 stam and give them a pat on the back. But for the CEO to come out and directly blame himself and basically discuss everything about the game, man, it can't get any better than this. Also, the compensation, amazing. 50 free pulls is incredible. The fact that he confirmed that we're getting even more pulls and even more rewards for our characters, absolutely beautiful. So I'm gonna get back to making my guides. I'm gonna get back to playing the game, enjoying the game as much as I possibly can. And when those times come next year, I will be there to discuss the story, discuss how good the story currently is, and compare it to the old story. So yeah, that's gonna be it from me. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next CZN video. Signing off.